They thought she would never fight back. Mara had always been the quiet girl in the back row, the one who wore her hair in a tight bun as if trying to hold herself together with it. No one knew that she wound the hair elastic so tightly around her hair because it felt like the only thing she could control. At home, everything was chaos: her mother's endless shifts at the diner, her father's drinking, the constant arguments echoing through their small apartment. Here at school, Mara believed that if she just stayed silent, maybe she could disappear, maybe she could be safe. But disappearing doesn't work when some people have already decided you are a target. It started in middle school's knickers when she walked past. The occasional shove, the taunts about her clothes that smelled faintly of fryer grease. But in high school, it escalated. A new group of girls led by Clara, the principal's daughter, had made it their personal mission to remind Mara every day that she was less. They were beautiful and loud and merciless, and they thrived on the way Mara flinched when they got close. That Thursday afternoon, the hallways had mostly emptied as everyone made their way to the buses or their rides home. Mara was at her locker, fingers trembling as she spun the combination. She'd almost made it through the week without incident. Almost. She heard the footsteps before she saw them, 3 pairs, moving in unison, like predators approaching prey. Her heart sank. Mara, Clara called, her voice syrupy sweet. Wait up. Mara closed her eyes, pretended she hadn't heard. Maybe if she didn't respond, you're deaf or something, sneered Kelsey, Clara's lieutenant. A hand clamped down on her shoulder, spinning her around. She looked up into Clara's perfect, hateful face. Where are you going in such a hurry? Clara asked, her lips curling. Got a date? Yeah, right. Behind them, Kelsey and another girl, Brianna, giggled. Mara's mouth was so dry she could hardly swallow. She shook her head, her eyes on the floor. Oh, don't be rude, Clara went on. Look at me when I'm talking to you. Mara lifted her chin a fraction. The locker door was still open behind her. If she could just reach in, grab her backpack. Look at that bun, Brianna said suddenly. She thinks she's a ballerina or something. And before Mara could react, a hand shot out Kelsey's and seized her bun in a cruel fist. Pain exploded across her scalp as her head was yanked back. Tears welled in her eyes, unbidden. Let go, she gasped, her voice thin. What was that? Clara mocked. Speak up. Let go, but Kelsey only pulled harder. Mara's heart was racing, her chest tight. They were laughing like this was just another game. And in that instant something snapped. It was as though the last thread holding her fear together broke. All the nights she'd cried into her pillow. All the times she'd watched her father break things when he was drunk. All the mornings she'd put her hair up tighter and tighter, believing that if she was small enough they would leave her alone. No more. Mara's eyes flew open. She grabbed Kelsey's wrist in both hands, her fingers digging into the soft flesh. She twisted hard. Kelsey shrieked in shock and pain, but Mara didn't stop. She stepped back with one foot, bent her knees, and in one motion pivoted her hips and heaved. Kelsey's body lifted off the floor, her own momentum working against her hand. Mara flipped her over her shoulder. There was a split second of stunned silence as Kelsey landed on the tile with a heavy thud, the breath knocked out of her. Mara turned. Clara's mouth was open, her eyes wide. Brianna looked like she might scream. Don't touch me, Mara said, her voice low, vibrating with something she'd never let herself feel before. Rage. She stepped over Kelsey's wheezing form, her hand still throbbing where she'd gripped the wrist. Clara backed up a step, her lip quivering. You think you can, Clara began, but her voice broke. Mara didn't wait to hear the rest. She turned back to her locker, snatched her bag, and walked away without looking back. Outside, the late afternoon sun was bright on her face. She felt a little like she might throw up, but under that was something else, something fierce. She had always believed she was powerless. That day she realized she'd only given her power away. The story should have ended there, but of course it didn't. The principal called Mara into the office the next morning. Kelsey had a sprained wrist. Clara's father had been furious, but so had Mara's mother. She'd taken time off her shift to come down, her eyes tired but blazing with the same protectiveness Mara remembered from when she was small. She defended herself. Her mother said through clenched teeth, she's been harassed for months, and nobody did a thing. The principal cleared his throat. Regardless, violence is she was assaulted. Mara's mother interrupted. What was she supposed to do? Let them hurt her? Mara sat very still, watching the adults argue over her fate. But inside, she already knew she wouldn't be that girl again when they finally sent her home with a warning. She expected the fear to come flooding back, the fear that she'd just made things worse. But it didn't. Instead, she felt taller, steadier. Word spread fast. By Monday, everyone knew that quiet Mara wasn't so easy to break anymore. Some kids avoided her. Others, like Benji from her chemistry class, gave her a quiet thumbs up in the hallway. She started to walk with her head a little higher. But Clara and her friends weren't finished. A week later, Mara was in the library, studying the place. was nearly empty, except for a couple of freshmen at the far end. She didn't hear the girls come in until it was too late. Clara slammed her book closed. You think you're tough now? She hissed. Mara didn't answer. She stood up, her chair scraping the floor. You humiliated us, Clara went on. You think that's just going to go away? I defended myself, Mara said. You think people like you get to do that? Something flickered behind Clara's eyes, something brittle. Mara saw for the first time how much of Clara's cruelty was just desperation to be feared, to be important. I'm not afraid of you, Mara said quietly. Clara's jaw tightened. You should be but as Clara took a step closer, Mara didn't flinch. She stood her ground. In that moment, the door opened. Ms. Reyes, the librarian, walked in with an armload of books. She took in the scene instantly. Is there a problem here? Clara's face went pale. She stepped back. No, she muttered, her voice hollow. She grabbed Brianna's sleeve. Let's go. Mara watched them leave. Her hands were still shaking, but not from fear, from adrenaline, from victory. After that day, the bullying didn't stop entirely, but it lost its teeth. A shove in the hallway here, a nasty comment there, but never again did they lay hands on her. And as weeks passed, something even more surprising happened. Other kids started talking to her. Tasha, the girl who sat beside her in English, started saving her a seat. Benji asked if she wanted to join their lab group. Even Ms. Reyes invited her to help shelve books during study period. She began to see that she was never as alone as she thought. At home, things didn't magically get better. Her dad still drank too much. Her mom still worked too hard. But now, when her father's shouting shook the walls, Mara didn't hide in her room. She stepped out into the kitchen, her voice calm but firm. Stop yelling, she told him one night. You don't get to treat us like this. He blinked at her in confusion. Maybe he hadn't realized she could stand up to him either. When he slammed the door and left, her mother hugged her so tight it hurt. I'm proud of you, she whispered. Mara was learning that standing up didn't mean you stopped being scared. It meant you chose not to let fear decide who you were. One afternoon, months later, Mara sat at the back of the gym during an assembly. Principal Harding was droning on about respect and kindness. She saw Clara sitting near the front, her posture rigid. Kelsey's wrist had healed, but she still carried herself like she expected the world to hit back. Mara almost felt sorry for them, but she didn't need to forgive them to move on. She just needed to know they didn't get to define her. When the assembly ended, Tasha caught up to her. Hey, she said, a little shy, we're all going to get smoothies. You wanna come? Mara hesitated. For so long, she'd believed she didn't belong anywhere. But she thought about the girl she'd been, the one who trembled when someone said her name. The one who thought survival meant disappearing. She wasn't that girl anymore. Yeah, she said finally. I'd like that. They walked out together into the sunlight. The air smelled like freshly cut grass and something new, something hopeful. As she stepped into the warmth, Mara reached up and tugged the hair tie from her bun. Her hair fell loose around her shoulders. She didn't need it pulled tight to feel in control anymore. She knew now, strength wasn't about never being afraid, it was about standing up anyway. And she would never go back to being invisible.